Hey everyone, before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel. This story is one you won't forget. The rain was relentless that night in Vienna, slanting through the narrow streets like silver knives. I was waiting outside the ER entrance, coat soaked, coffee spilled across my hand when she walked in, Anna laughing with ease. The same woman who had betrayed me without shame, dragging two of my closest friends behind her, their heads low, embarrassed. Or maybe complicit. I smiled, not out of happiness, not yet, but because I knew something they didn't. I always do. 2 months earlier, I had discovered the texts, the photos, the excuses they all tried to pass off as a moment of weakness. My chest had tightened. The betrayal wasn't just hers, it was theirs too. People I had trusted, people I had shared my apartment, my secrets, my laughter with. And yet, there they were, smiling at me as if nothing had happened. But life is a slow-moving river, and revenge flows like a current you cannot see. I didn't confront them immediately. I couldn't. I had to wait for the right moment. My work as a medical researcher gave me access to people, to connections, to information they never suspected. I remembered my father, a man broken by deceit in his own family decades ago, telling me the truth often arrives dressed as kindness. I thought of him that night as I watched them step into the emergency room, chattering nervously. "Good evening," I said, voice calm as I approached them. "You're just in time for your checkup." Anna's eyes flickered, recognition dawning too late. I don't understand," she stammered. I gestured to the ER desk. "They'll see you shortly. You'll get all the tests you need. Don't worry about the details. It'll be educational." The three of them exchanged panicked glances. My friend's confidence cracked. Anna's laugh caught in her throat. I didn't need to raise my voice. I just let the past speak for itself, the knowledge I carried heavy in my chest. The doctor who received them was someone I had met only once, but he owed me a favor. Years ago, I had saved his sister's life during a rare surgical emergency. I had not asked for repayment, but people keep track of kindness. And he had kept track of my discreet requests over time. I introduced them slowly. "Dr. Brandt, these are the young people I mentioned. They might need a few specialized tests." Brandt's eyes were sharp, professional, yet a flicker of understanding passed between us. I could see it in the way he reviewed the files I had discreetly compiled over the last month, their medical histories, recent blood work, and their latest recreational habits. The texts, the alcohol intake, the lack of sleep, the mental stress, all carefully documented. "Of course," he said almost gently, "we'll begin with a full evaluation. It might be uncomfortable, but honesty is best for your health." The three of them had no idea what was coming. They assumed this was routine. They didn't know I had orchestrated everything. The appointments, the anonymous tip-offs, the careful nudging of Brandt's curiosity toward a discreet, private investigation. I had learned early that the best revenge doesn't yell. It whispers in the spaces where fear meets realization. Hours passed. They were subjected to tests they couldn't refuse. Subtle questions, offhand comments, detailed scans. And slowly, the truth emerged. Not just the betrayal I already knew, but the wider consequences of their reckless behavior. Anna's secret emotional manipulations, my friend's careless complicity, the ripple effects that had harmed others in our social circle. I stayed silent, a specter at the edge of the room, watching disbelief wash over their faces. By midnight, Brandt had his report. He called them in together. I could see the tension tighten around their shoulders. "You need to understand," Brandt said, eyes unwavering, "that your actions have consequences beyond what you imagined. Betrayal isn't just emotional, it can be physical, legal, and social. You need to reconcile with that. You're lucky to be unharmed, but this behavior could have lasting effects on everyone involved." Anna's hands trembled. My friends avoided my gaze. I smiled again, a thin curve of satisfaction, not cruelty, but to justice served quietly. The words weren't mine. They were the truth, delivered by someone they respected professionally, someone neutral, yet uncompromising. I left them there, stunned, with the weight of accountability pressing down on them. Outside, the Vienna streets were glistening with rain, the neon signs reflecting off puddles like fractured promises. I lit a cigarette, inhaled slowly, and felt years of tension begin to release. Revenge, I realized, is rarely dramatic. It's patient, meticulous, and precise. The thrill lies not in violence, but in the unveiling of truth, in letting someone see themselves as they truly are, without the distractions of excuses. Weeks passed. Anna didn't speak to me again. My friends tried to reach out, their messages polite but hollow. They were ghosts in my life now, echoes of a time before deceit had consumed everything. I focused on my own healing, my own life. I resumed my research, my work, my quiet existence that had once been threatened by their arrogance. Each day, I walked the streets of Vienna with a sense of clarity I hadn't known before. Betrayal had been a storm, but the calm after it was mine. Then, one evening, I received an anonymous letter. A simple envelope, no return address. Inside was a single photograph. Anna, alone, seated at a cafe in the old city, staring at a book with an expression I recognized immediately. Regret. The realization of loss is slower than betrayal, but it is more permanent. I smiled, not out of glee, not out of triumph, but because balance had been restored. Life, I had learned, is less about punishment and more about illumination. The truth, once revealed, has a weight heavier than any lie, and it carries with it its own justice. Months later, I met Brandt at a conference in Salzburg. He handed me a small envelope. Inside were transcripts of the investigations I had helped him compile, anonymized for publication. The stories of the reckless, the deceitful, and the careless had been documented. Social circles shifted, reputations crumbled quietly, and the people who had hurt me found themselves alone in ways they had not anticipated. I walked through the cobblestone streets of Salzburg that evening, snow beginning to fall, the Alps outlined in silver against the sky. For the first time in years, I felt unburdened, free from the ghosts of betrayal. Anna's laughter, my friends' whispers, all of it was a memory I could carry without pain. I learned that revenge is not about destruction, it is about clarity. It is the slow unveiling of consequences, the patient letting of truth into spaces where lies had flourished. And when that truth lands, it is absolute. That night, under the dim glow of streetlights, I looked up at the mountains and breathed deeply. The air was cold, clean, and honest, and I finally allowed myself to smile, fully, freely, not at their suffering, but at my own liberation. The world moves on, but the echoes of truth linger. And sometimes, that is all the justice one truly needs.